I welcome you all for the second lecture on biomedical instrumentation. The topic to be discussed today is non-electrical parameter measurements. The topics are measurement of blood pressure, cardiac output, heart rate, heart sound, pulmonary function, measurements, photolithosmography, types of blood flow meters, types of electrodes. Measurement of blood pressure. Blood flow meters are used to monitor the blood flow in various blood vessels and to measure cardiac output. Types of flow meters are blood flow meters are electromagnetic blood flow meters, ultrasonic blood flow meters, laser based blood flow meters. Electromagnetic blood flow meters measure blood flow in blood vessels, which consist of a probe connected to the flow sensor box as shown in the diagram. Electromagnetic flow meter. It is an electromagnetic principle that is used by this meter to measure the blood flow actually, full of mechanical parts. This device is capable of measuring the mass flow of a fluid. Unlike the common flow meters we can find in the market, it has no moving parts. For this reason, it can be made to withstand any pressure and any fluid, either corrosive or non-corrosive. This kind of flow meter uses a magnet and two electrodes to peak the voltage that appears across the fluid moving in the magnetic field. It works on the law based Newman's law or Lenz's law, which states that the conductive wire is moving at right angle through a magnetic field and a voltage E will appear at the end of the conductor. E is equal to B dot L dot V, where B is the magnetic induction in Webers per meter square. L is the length of the portion of the wire wetted by the magnetic field in meters, and V is the velocity of the wire in meters per second. The first type of flow meters which we are going to discuss is ultrasonic flow meters. The blood cells in the fluid scatter the Doppler signal diffusively. In recent years, ultrasound contrast agents have been used in order to increase the echoes. The ultrasound beam is focused by a suitable transducer, geometry, and a lens, as shown in the diagram. The sender sends the signal, the ultrasonic signal, moving object, and it is being reflected, which is being collected by the receiver. So this travels with the frequency Fe and it hits the target and comes back with the frequency Ft. So Fd is equal to 2Fc into V by C, where F is equal to, for example, Fd is 2Fc V by C and F is equal to 2 to 10 megahertz and C is equal to 1500 to 1600 meters per second, for example. So F is equal to 1.3 to 13 kilohertz. In order to know where along the beam of blood flow data is collected, a pulsed radar must be used. The flow velocity is being obtained in a spectral estimation of the received Doppler signal. The ultrasound Doppler device can either be a continuous wave or a pulsed Doppler. A pulse Doppler has an accuracy, it has to have a no minimum flow and minimum range. Maximum flow range is limited by power decays exponentially because of heating of the tissue. The absorption coefficient is proportional to the frequency. The far field operation should be avoided due to beam divergence. So DNF equal to D square by 4 lambda, where D is the diameter of the wire and lambda is being the wavelength of that. The principle of measurement of a laser Doppler flowmetry is shown in the diagram. The principle of measurement is the same with that we had with an ultrasonic Doppler. The laser parameter may have the following properties. It is helium neon laser and it has a wavelength of 632.8 nanometers wavelength. The moving red blood cells cause Doppler frequency of 30 to 1200 Hz. The method is used for capillary microvascular blood flow measurements. As shown in the diagram, the blood flow is flowing through the capillary loop the erythrocytes, and that helium laser light which absorbs, which is optical fibers which absorbs, shows a difference in wavelength actually, which is being collected by a photodetector shown here. And this photodetector gives a voltage which is corresponding to the optical signal, the difference between the two optical signal, which is collected by the photodetector and get given to a signal conditioning circuit which amplifies, and we get the Doppler frequency. Thereby we can identify the blood flow. Next is the photoelectric method. Photoelectric method consists of a beam of infrared light which is directed to the part of tissue which is being measured for blood flow. Example, a finger or an earlobe as shown in the diagram. The blood flow modulates the attenuated or reflected signal or light which is recorded. The light that is transmitted or reflected is collected with a photodetector. Thereby we can find out the blood flow. This shows an oscillatory method aneroid sphygmomanometer with stethoscope. This is a mercury manometer where we measure the blood flow measurement or blood pressure measurement. This is a digital BP measuring equipment which shows you the BP systolic and diastolic in mm and Hg, and this gives a pulse per minute. So this method using a stethoscope with sphygmomanometer, this comprises an inflatable, that Riva Roki cup placed around the upper arm at roughly the same vertical height as the heart, attached to the mercury or an aneroid manometer. The mercury manometer, considered to be the gold standard for arterial pressure measurement, measures the height of the column of the mercury, giving an absolute result without need for calibration and consequently not subject to errors and drift. Calibration which affect the methods. These mercury manometers are often required in clinical trials and for clinical measurement of hypertension in high-risk patients such as pregnant women. This shows a lookup table classification of blood pressures for adult. The category for systolic and diastolic is being shown here. The hypotension shows a value which is less than 90 mmHg, and diastolic is less than 60. A normal blood pressure comprises of 90 to 119 mmHg, and for diastolic it has to be 60 to 79 mmHg. For a pre-hypertension, it is 120 to 139 mmHg systolic and 80 to 89 diastolic. Stage 1 hypertension is 140 to 159 and it's systolic, and in 90 to 99 for diastolic mmHg. Stage 2 hypertension will be greater than 160 mmHg, and for diastolic it is greater than 100. The placement of blood pressure cuff is being shown in the schematic diagram, where it is placed equally with the heart in the arm vertical position. The cardiac output, the Q, is the volume of blood being pumped by the heart, in particular by a ventricle in a minute vein. This is measured in decimeters cube per minute. 1 dm cube equals to 1000 cm cube or 1 liter. An average cardiac output would be 5 liters per minute for a human male and 4.5 liters per minute for a female measuring cardiac output. This shows the Q calculation, how it has been calculated. The VO2 is the consumption per minute using a spirometer with the subject of rebreathing air, and CO2 absorber, the oxygen content of the blood taken from the pulmonary artery representing mixed venous blood. The oxygen content of the blood from a cannula in a peripheral artery representing the arterial blood. From this, VO2 is equal to Q into Ca minus Q into C suffix V. What is Ca and Cv? Ca is the oxygen content of the arterial blood and Cv is the oxygen content of venous blood. This allows us to say Q is equal to VO2 by Ca minus Cv into 100 gives a percentage of Q. Cardiac rate. The heart rate, HR, is a measure of number of heartbeats per minute. The average resting human heart rate is about 70 beats per minute. Heart rate varies significantly between individuals based on fitness, age, and genetics. Endurance athletes often have very low resting heart rates. The heart rate can be measured by monitoring one's pulse. Pulse measurement can be achieved by using specialized medical devices or by merely pressing one's finger against an artery, typically on the wrist or the neck. Note that this can be dangerous if done incorrectly or for too long. The heart sounds that are noises or the sound generated by the beating heart and the resultant flow of blood through it. Specifically, the turbulence created when the heart valve snaps shut. This is also called a heartbeat. In cardiac auscultation, an examiner uses a stethoscope to listen to these sounds, which provide important information about the condition of the heart. Three rheumatic valvular disorders are mitral stenosis, and aortic stenosis and aortic regurgitation. These are the three rheumatic valvular disorders which is being seen in the heart actually. This produces the sound difference like rumbling murmur for mitral stenosis, and it gives a systolic murmur in aortic stenosis, and this sounds two different ways in aortic regurgitation actually. In healthy adults, there are two normal heart sounds, often described as lub and a dub or a dub, that occur in sequence with each heartbeat. These are the first heart sound S1 and second heart sound S2, produced by the closing of the tricuspid and the mitral valves and the aortic plus pulmonic valves, respectively. In addition to these normal sounds, a variety of other sounds may be present, including heart murmurs, adventitious sounds, gallops, rhythms, S3 and S4. Heart murmurs are generally by turbulent flow of blood, which may occur inside or outside the heart. Murmurs may be physiological, benign, or pathological abnormal. Abnormal murmurs can be caused by stenosis, restricting the opening of the heart wall, resulting in turbulence as blood flow through it. Abnormal murmurs may also occur with valvular insufficiency, which allows backflow of blood when the incompetent valve closes with only partial effectiveness. Different murmurs are audible in different parts of cardiac cycle depending on the cause of the murmur. Respiratory rate RR, or the respiratory rate of the pulmonary ventilation rate or ventilation rate, is a number of breaths a living being such as human takes within certain amount of time, frequently given in breaths per minute. The human respiration rate is usually measured when a person is at rest and simply involves counting the number of breaths for 1 minute by counting how many times the chest raises. Respiration rate may increase with fever, illness, or other medical conditions. When checking respiration, it is important, and it is not also whether a person has any difficulty in breathing. This is the general control of breathing, where everything involved here are medulla, the pH sensors, the rhythmic center of our brain, the primary O2 sensors, the spinal cord, the aorta, the heart. Breathing is controlled by the medulla of the brainstem. It repeatedly triggers contraction of the diaphragm, initiating inspiration. The rate of breathing changes with the activity level in response to carbon dioxide levels and, to a lesser extent, oxygen levels in the blood. Carbon dioxide lowers the pH of the blood. Average respiratory rates by age. Newborns average is 44 breaths per minute. Infants is 20 to 40 breaths per minute. A preschool children is 20 to 30 breaths per minute. Older children is 16 to 25, and adults it is 12 to 20 Adults during strenuous exercise, it is 35 to 45 breaths per minute, and athletes peak 60 to 70 breaths per minute. Gas volume flow rate of CO2 and O2 in exhaust air, where the gas volume has a vital role in their measurement also is the places where we use the oxygen and carbon dioxide have been utilized in our body in all more probably 90% of the body consumes that. So we are in a position to measure the gas volume flow rate of CO2 and O2 in our exhaust air. So respiration refers to the mechanism for obtaining oxygen from the air and delivering it to the tissue while eliminating carbon dioxide from the body. It is related to cellular respiration, the biochemical process that consumes this oxygen and generate the carbon dioxide in the course of making adenosine triphosphate ATP. Respiration in the former sense involves four processes: breathing or ventilation of the lungs, gas exchange between air and blood in the lungs, gas transport in the blood, and gas exchange between the blood and the target tissues. This is the respiratory centers where the pons and medulla of our brain, the pneumotoxic area and apocaustic area, these are the expiratory centers, and the inspiratory centers, it is given to the muscles for expiratory and inspiratory. So blood leaving the lungs is therefore relatively high in O2, oxygen in a diatomic form, and low in CO2. It travels via the pulmonary veins to the left side of the heart, which pumps it out into the systematic circulation. This division of the circulatory system delivers it to even organs of the body. So systemic gas exchange. When the blood reaches the systemic blood capillaries, gases undergo the process that are essentially the reverse of that occurs in the pulmonary alveoli. The blood unloads of O2, oxygen, which diffuses into the tissue fluid and thus reaches the cells around the blood capillaries. At the same time, the CO2 generated by the metabolism of those cells diffuses into the blood and will be carried away to the lungs for disposal. Next comes our electrodes path. In order to measure and record potentials or currents, it is necessary to provide some interface between the body and the electronic measuring apparatus. So current flows in the measuring circuits for at least a fraction of period of time over which the measurement is made. Biopotential electrode is a transducer that converts the body ionic current into the body into a traditional electronic current flowing into the electrode. Current is carried in the body by ions, whereas it is carried in the electrode and in its lead wire by electrons. Electrode change an ionic load current into an electronic current. This is an equivalent circuit of an electrode electrolyte. We have this equivalent circuit which forms the impedance of a particular electronic circuit, and this CD and with parallel RD we call it as actually the impedance Z with a series voltage VH. Actually this is an equivalent circuit of an electrode electrolyte. A precise approximation of double layer Randall circuits, that is the electrode electrolyte, we will be having two parallel branches. If we are having such circuit, we call them as a tank circuit, and this is an actual tank circuit or which gives a frequency for one particular frequency. It will be low or high, we call them as a resonance circuit. And here we have RCT, which is the active charge transfer resistance, and W is the element reflecting diffusion with impedance ZW, and AW is the coefficient of a constant actually. So electrode electrolyte interface, here we will be coming in contact with some chemical reactions such as oxidation reaction and reduction reagents. Reductions means we'll have reduction in our product. That is, say for example, oxidation reaction causes an atom to lose electron. So reduction reaction causes an atom to gain electron. So these are the two chemical reactions happening, oxidation and reduction. So in oxidation here, I have a lose of electrons, and then reduction means I have to obtain one electrons. So electrons lost, oxidation number increases. So oxidation is dominant when current flow from electrode to electrolyte, and conduction dominate when current flow in this. Here shows, and the current flow actually from metal to an electrolyte, how it occurs, how the oxidation process and the reduction process is means schematically shown here, an oxidation and reduction actually. Here the current flow is from electrolyte to the electrode. It gains one electron. Here it loses one electron actually. Next, half cell potential is determined by the metal involved, the concentration of its ion in the solution, the temperature, and the other second factor, that is certain mechanism separates charges, and the metal electrode interface results in one type of charge which is dominant on the surface, and the metal and the opposite charge is concentrated on the immediate adjacent electrolyte as shown in the diagram. So half cell potential is altered when there is a current flowing in the electrode. Over potential is the difference between the observed half cell potential with the current flow, and the equilibrium zero current half potential. Mechanism contributed to over potential, ohmic over potential. Here voltage drop along the path of the current changes the resistance of the electrolyte, and thus voltage drop does not allow Ohm's law. So concentration over potential is the current changes the distribution of ions at the electrode electrolyte interface. So activation over potential is the current changes the rate of oxidation and reduction. Since the activation energy barriers for oxidation and reduction are different, the net activation energy depends on the direction of current, and this difference appears at the voltage. Vp equal to VR plus VC plus VA. The polarization and impedance of the electrode are two of the most important electrode properties we have to consider actually. So when two ionic solutions of different concentration are separated by a semi-permeable membrane, an electric potential exists across the membrane. So here E equal to minus RT by NF ln of A1 by A2, where A1 and A2 are the activity of the ions on each side of the membrane, and ionic activity is availability of ionic species in solution to enter into the reaction. So for general oxidation and reduction reaction, the Nernst equation of half cell potential is E is equal to E naught plus RT by NF ln of AC, AD, the coefficients of A actually, A1 by A2, which is being shown here, how many layers are there or different types of ions are being there. It is being shown here as coefficients of all the activities of ions here, taking the ln of that particular membrane coefficients of the ionic activity. So perfectly polarizable electrodes are which have no actual charge across the electrode electrolyte interface when the current is applied. For example, it is the platinum electrode, and perfectly non-polarizable electrodes are your silver and silver chloride electrode actually, where the electrodes in which current pass freely across the electrodes. The example is silver chloride, and it is used for recording that platinum in it is used for stimulation actually. The chemical reactions of silver and silver chloride is shown in this particular diagram, which shows the electrolyte here used is a K plus Cl, and how these electrodes are used here, how they chemically react with one another is shown in this particular diagram. The chemical reactions involved by silver chloride electrode. This shows the advantages of silver chloride, and it is that stable, and it has the electrolyte containing Cl minus ions, and these are all the equations which are used for measuring the performance created by the biological fluids, and the solubility product is shown here, the Nernst equation, and these are all the constants, proportionality constants, and this is the effect actually what happens. The performance of this electrode is also good compared to the other electrodes. These are the models actually. This is the models actually. We consider the equivalent circuit of metal and an electrode, how it forms, and what is the equivalent circuit in electronic principle, how we equate them to the electronic circuits using these components like resistance, capacitance, and inductance. So this shows the models, the low noise versus your biocompatible electrodes. The characteristics of an electrode is sensitive to current density, waveform, and frequency actually. This shows the characteristics of frequency versus your output or your gain or your impedance curve actually. RD and CD make up the impedance associated with an electrode-electrolyte interface and the polarization effects. RS is associated with the interface effects and due to the resistance in the electrolyte. There are three types of electrodes actually: microelectrode, depth and needle electrodes, and surface electrodes. Surface electrodes are larger area electrodes, ECG potential, and smaller area electrodes are EEG and EMG potentials. Types of electrodes are metal plate electrodes, suction cup, adhesive tape electrodes, and multi-point electrodes and floating point electrodes. These are going to interface the body tissue with the electronic circuitry or your instrument actually to be measured. So metal plate electrodes are shown as schematically in the diagram, which is rectangular by 3.5 centimeter by 5 centimeter and circular diameter of 4.7 in shape. It is German silver, nickel silver, or nickel plated steel. It is doing the ECG measurement actually. Next comes your electrode which has a rubber belt support and a lead wire actually. Lead wire and a lead terminal support, which is used a rubber belt support and a contact surface, and this is placed on the patient's body actually for conducting, and this lead wire. Suction cup electrode is there. Suction cup electrode which has a flat surface of the body and to the regions where the underlying tissue is soft. Physically large but only rim, smaller area is in contact with the skin actually. Adhesive tape electrodes, the pressure of the surface electrode against the skin may squeeze and the electrode paste out. So this type of electrodes are used. Light metallic screen backed by a pad of electrode paste as shown in the diagram. We pull that bottom sticker and paste it on the body part where we are going to take the recordings or going to take some readings, which will be showing you the perfect displacement or the vibrations of that particular part actually. So there will be a foam and a snap. This is the top portion of your electrode, and this one is the metal disc or the electrolyte, the adhesive part of the electrode, which is the bottom one. The same thing shown here. It is disposable, and these are the types of this disposable electrodes. And multi-point electrode, we do this or we use this for ECG measurement. Nearly 1,000 fine active contact points are here. These are the different types of multi-point electrodes. Floating element here, or the metal does not contact with the subject directly, but through electrolytic bridge, and it is also a junction electrode actually. Moving artifact is eliminated here. The diagram shows how it is being fixed. Here the metal does not contact with the subject directly through some electrolyte. These are the flexible electrodes. That is the body surface of electrodes, carbon filled silicon rubber or a flexible thin film neonatal electrodes. And this is a thin film electrodes as shown here, and it is for used for the newborn infants, compatible with X-ray and all actually. Needle electrodes are generally used for clinical myographies or neurographies and other electrophysiological investigation under skin and in deeper tissues. The material used are stainless steel, which is preferred due to the mechanical solidity and low price. These electrodes are fully autoclavable and it can be thoroughly sterilized before use. Different types of needle electrodes are also used for electromyographic work. The depth and needle electrodes actually used to study the electrical activity of the neurons in superficial layers of the brain and also the oxygen tension. And it is bundle of Teflon insulated platinum and iridium alloy wires. End of supporting wire is rounded actually. It has a 0.5 mm square. This is the depth electrode, which shows cluster of fine wires insulated up to tips actually. This is the wire loop electrode and a silver sphere cortial surface, and which has multi-element depth electrode actually mounted. They are mounted here as shown in the diagram. It is a multi-element depth electrode actually. These are all the diagrams, schematic diagrams of different electrodes. Then comes the needle electrodes. We use this for electroneurography, and it is resembling the medicine Doppler and a hypodermic needle, bent at one end, and it is inserted through the lumen and advanced into the muscle. Needle is withdrawn and it is bent wire is resting inside the muscle actually. Microelectrodes, which use to measure the potential near or within the cell, smaller dimensions of 0.5 to 5 microns, and we have metallic and non-metallic type. Non-metallic, we call them as micropipette. See the metal electrode here, which is placed on N means which is equal to the nucleus, and C is the cytoplasm actually of your cell. How it is being placed. This is the way how we place this metal electrode. As shown here, it is probing to the cell actually. From here, we'll be taking two different contacts as A and B, which is being given to the signal conditioning circuit actually. This will give you the potential which will be of low magnitude and which should be given to a signal conditioning circuit where they will be magnified and indicated. This is also the circuitry of an microelectrode actually, which has a resistance RS. These are all the equivalent circuit of the electrodes which are being placed on the skin, and they are equivalent given to equivalence of passive components like resistance and capacitances, how the body exhibits some potentials when they are coming in contact with that electrode electrolyte, and they are put into an equivalent circuit constituting of the resistances series and the capacitances, the metal coated with an insulated material overall, but it is the tip, distal tip actually. We have metal electrode interface. We have some resistance, we call them as RMA, and the capacitance, we call them as CMA. And these are all the resistances, equivalent resistances to the electrode, electrolyte, the extracellular fluids, lead wires, and so on. This is a micropipette electrode which is being placed on the tissue. How it is placed on the nucleus and the cytoplasm is shown. How it is being placed here and how it looks like. It is a 1 micrometer filled with an electrolyte of 3 m of KCl, potassium chloride, and how it reacts. So this is the A and B points will be taken out from your cell, and we'll feed them to the external signal conditioning circuits. So this is an electrode point, this is A and this is B, and this A and B are given to the amplifier actually. This being B being the reference electrode, and this will be the standard electrode what we have been discussed previously. So these are the Problems with our recordings, we have electrode-electrolyte noise and noise in the electrolyte, skin interface, motion artifacts, and electric and magnetic field interferences, thermal noise, amplifier noise, noise from additional bioelectric events and other sources. And silver chloride electrodes has these specifications actually. Half cell potential is 2.5 millivolt, and it reduces the noise voltage and increases the stability electrochemically. It stabilizes the half cell potential, and we don't have any artifacts, no movement artifacts is there. Reduce the low frequency electrolyte impedance actually. So distortion in signals in silver chloride electrode is shielded cable to reduce interferences. Johnson noise, or the random movement of charge carriers, or ohmic noise, ohmic component due to the electrode impedances, and movement artifacts, which is equal to half cell potentials and high impedance, will minimize the artifacts. Distortion is movement of low current density. So using large electrodes and bioelectric recorders of high input impedance, the distortion in the waveform is reduced. And that's all for today's lecture. Thank you.